Okay, and here's our last question for this session. Okay, so we have something like this. Now you can see we don't really know any identities that we can use to change one of them, like sine into cos, because the identity is for sine squared, and this one also for cos squared, so there isn't much we can do. So when you have something like this, what you need to do is you can take one of them to the other side. So I will have sine x is equal to cos x. Now what I do here is I will divide by cos x on both sides. Then I have sine x over cos x is equal to 1. Now if you remember in the previous ones I said do not divide. The reason I say do not divide there was because you had 0 on the other side and then your cos x just disappears. Now this is different because I do not have 0 on the other side. So if I divide by cos x over here, the cos x doesn't disappear. It's still represented. Unlike if you have something like this, cos x sine x is equal to 0. If I divide by cos x over here, I have sine x is equal to 0, then this cos x is no longer represented. So these two are completely different. Here you can see I've divided by cos x, but I still have a cos x being represented. Unlike here, when I divide by cos x, the cos x has disappeared. It's as if it was never even there. Okay, so what you should do is here you can divide as long as the cos x is still represented. Okay. Now that we've done that, you need to remember what is sine over cos equal to. Sine over cos is equals to tan. So I have tan x is equal to 1. Okay, now that tan x is equal to 1, I will follow the procedures that I've done in the past. I will say what is my reference angle, what are the quadrants my angle lies in, and then I find the solution. Okay, so I find theta. Theta is tan inverse of 1. Then I go to my trusted calculator. Then I just type it in. Tan inverse of 1 is 45. Then I need to remember to write 45 in radians. So I have theta is equals to pi over 4 radians. So that is my reference angle. Okay, so now that I have my reference angle, I need to look at my quadrants. So this here, tan x is equal to 1. 1 is a positive number. That means I need to look for the quadrants where tan is positive. Tan is positive in the first quadrant. All of them are positive there. And tan is positive in the third quadrant. Only tan is positive in that quadrant. And if x is in the first quadrant, then x is equal to the reference angle theta. And if x is in the third quadrant, you need to remember the definition of an angle in the third quadrant. This is pi plus theta. If I was measuring this in degrees, I would say 180 plus theta. Okay, but I'm measuring this in radians. So we look at the first one. X is theta. If x is theta, then x is just equal to pi over 4. Then in the third quadrant, if x is equals to pi plus theta, then this is pi plus pi over 4. And then here, you can go to a calculator and see I have pi plus pi over 4. Okay, and then you can see that the answer is 5 pi over 4. This is 5 pi over 4. And those are my two solutions. So I will say solutions. X is equal to the first one. I write them in increasing order or ascending order. So it is pi over 4. And then I have 5 pi over 4. Those are my two solutions, and just like that I am done.